exciting episode of Chillin with the Pool. I'm your host with the most, Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme, here with my exceptionally new co-host, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adam Warlock. Greetings, fellow fans and YouTubers of the internet. I'm starting to get the hang of this. Yep, slowly but surely, it's a long and arduous process. With you, I don't doubt it. Anyway, today we'll be diving into the exciting yet thrilling world of DC Comics. That's right, we have a special story for you guys today, and trust me, I think it's one that you all are definitely going to like. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, ta-da! Green Lantern issue Volume 7, issue 24. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this issue so special from the countless others that have been produced? Well, this, if you'll have noticed right down here, its name, the first and last name is Adams. Now, you're probably wondering, and I tell you, it's actually Jeremy Adams. He was one of the writers on the show Green Lantern, the animated series. Truly a DC underrated wonder that definitely is worthy of being called a cult classic. If you haven't watched that show, why are you here? Please go check it out. It is amazeballs. No, seriously, the writing is superb. It never talks down to its audience. The characters bounce off each other wonderfully. Plus, it introduces old and new characters alike, and the gender equality rules. The women have just as much of a commanding, if not more memorable presence than their male counterparts. So trust me, you guys are definitely gonna love this show. Am I right? Isn't that right, Adam? I do not know what you're talking about, but if it is as good as you say it is, then I will take your word for it. And there you have it. So anyway, Jeremy Adams was one of the writers on Green Lantern the animated series. Since then, he's been working for DC, writing their comic books. And given that he, along with some other writers, have been implementing some few characters and elements from Green Lantern the animated series into the comics, which, of course, is amazeballs. So, without further ado, let's get right into Green Lantern the Green Lantern comic book. Of course, this issue opens up with Star Sapphire, aka Carol Ferris, working alongside her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Hal Jordan. And of course, now you might be wondering, why is she even bothering to help Hal Jordan? Isn't she a villainess? Well, it depends on the continuity that you're reading, but actually in this one, no, she is not. Yes, she was a goofy-ass Silver Age villain, but she was taken over by Predator. Now, if they were going to continue the whole Carol Ferris and Predator storyline, I definitely have the feeling that if they made a show like this, they would have definitely done an Eddie Brock and Venom sort of thing. Kind of like what the movies were. You know, Carol Ferris would assume the role of Eddie Brock as the street man, and Predator would just be Venom, the warped yet surprisingly fun character. But I digress. The recent issues have been showing Carol Ferris being recruited onto the Justice League, which I think is actually a very good and very smart decision on the writer's part. Carol was not necessarily a conventional villain like Sinestro, Lex Luthor, definitely not as crazy as a Joker, and more or less deranged than Harley Quinn. I can tell you that much. But there really is a sense of potential that she can do good in all of this. As you can tell, she even gets the hang of making constructs. You can tell that the artwork is now, I mean, come on, these guys wearing black and white striped prisoner outfits. I mean, this is not really the Silver Age, but maybe it's like a gang thing. I mean, come on, they have not used black and white striped prisoner jumper uniforms in a long time. Like, seriously, I mean, I don't know if it's making a comeback, but it's definitely just more or less the traditional orange jumper suit. But anyway, as you can tell, Carol is still pretty new to this whole hero business, but she will eventually learn sense, hopefully becoming a much wiser and cautious heroine. And Hal, being the cocky but still patient mentor. The two of them already take the prisoners to jail, and he says, maybe we can talk about other things that I'm right about. It's like, She even says, she actually wants to, and in the first page, she actually apologizes to Hal, and he's like, oh, go on, and he's like, I didn't think you really understood before when you go off to save the universe and felt like I was just being left behind on the back burner of everything, but now being with the Justice League, I finally get it. It's a sacrifice, but a good sacrifice. See, it's stuff like this that actually make me appreciate and love Carol Ferris as a character. I think that there were like 2 adaptations of her that I actually like. The one from DC Superhero Girls 2019, which was which was pretty much hilariously bad, but more in a good way too. I mean, it's just kind of, the deranged lover sort of thing, deranged, stalkery girlfriend sort of thing. And I'd like to think, and especially the one from Green Lantern, the animated series, where she's more calm, mature, surprisingly wise, and definitely cautious. That version of her is kind of like a realistic version, the people's eyes and ears from our world into the DC universe. So yeah, I think that both of them would just been her. Go from being this unhinged stalkery girl to someone who's mellowed out significantly. To be more mature and help her, and thus her time with Jessica Cruz. Her time or interacting with Jessica Cruz helped her to help calm her down. Help her to be more patient and helping her learn patience as well as humility. Now we literally jump ship to this familiar starship. Look familiar? Oh wait, that's right. It's the Interceptor. I know what you're thinking. Wow. It's like, who's in control of this now? Huh. Well, it's Superboy, some archaeologist, Starlight, and of course another former White Lantern, Kyle Rayner. I have no idea, why he's still a Green Lantern again. Maybe it's because it has to do with the influx since the time with the Green Lantern Corps Civil War. I swear to God, these continuities they always make the least difference to me. Anyway, they pilot the Interceptor to this old abandoned Owen or Malthusian Green Lantern base. Nope, it says it's still on autopilot, so apparently it's luring them inside. As you can tell, there's a green arrow that's allowing them to it's harkening them forward to follow the trail. Follow the trail inside. And meanwhile, back on Earth, Carol realizes that this prison is actually the welcome to Sunnyside Prison Camp. Okay, yeah, I may not have gone to prison, but I think even Carol knows that there's something off with this. It's like rebranding, some weird attempt to make us forget it's a hardened prison. It's like, and the warden, of course, is out east of Coast City, and the warden's like, "Hello there, we are so happy to finally to meet you." This guy, no, but he does seem friendly. And it's like, yeah, this place ain't so bad. Reminds me of home, without all the beating and everything. I mean, come on, even the guys are wearing like masks and like domino masks and striped shirts. I mean, seriously, I know that they're all I know, what are they supposed to be, like old-timey robbers or something like that? I mean, I knew a guy that actually dressed up for Halloween once, but I mean, seriously, come on. Now, of course, the warden seems friendly enough, and Hal introduces himself and Carol, and it's Carol, and this is what she says. It's like, something's obviously wrong here, and Batman always says if something is out of place, it's worth investigating. I really wanted to see her interact with Batman. I think that she would be the type of woman that we could definitely give Batman a run for his money. It's because if she can, I initially would I'd say, get her a spot on the Justice League immediately. And it's like, and he says, because Batman has no life, and I do. Plus, we were having lunch in Shanghai. And Carol smiles. She understands that she made a commitment to Hal and says, but we'll push it off until dinner instead. So we'll just investigate this place right off. See, she's already thinking for herself and starting to actually and put some investigative work, as a detective. So it really goes to show that Carol really has grown a lot since the Silver Age, or at least, or depending on the interpretation. But either way, it really goes to show that deep down, she really is a kind and caring person, and definitely worthy of the Zamaranian crown. Oh, for those of you who don't know, apparently she was in one of the continuities. They made her Queen of the Zamarons, which is basically like an alien version of the Amazons, but with the pink lantern rings. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to check out the comic books and wherever comic books are sold. Okay, so apparently they get lunch in the prison, and I think it's actually very nice. Plus, I actually prefer that. Oh, honestly, on a side note, I kind of prefer Carol in this Star Sapphire uniform than the other one, because the other one seemed a bit too skimpy. And plus, how are you supposed to take her seriously if she looks like, well, what she looked like before? Look, I'm not saying I dislike women's fashion choices, but come on, if they really want to be taken seriously, then you gotta dress the part, Dress for success, and not for failure. And it's like, and she gets, check it out, it's like I can sense when I sense, oh wait, look, it says, stop joking around, serious. In fact, I've been getting this vibe since we stepped in here. I can sense when you're in trouble with the emotional spectrum. So it's kind of basically, so apparently they've developed a Green Lantern spider sense. Who would have thought? Go figure. Usually. We'll be right back after this after this message. Much better. And we're back. So with her persistence, she and Hal go down to investigate. And man, you will not believe what they discover. Oh look, hello there. Look, Hoppy, we have visitors. Yep, that is the whole thing is responsible for what everything is going on in the prison. Meanwhile, back in deep space, Kyle Rayner and his crew end up finding some kind of whatever it is, the power levels are going off the charts. It's a giant containment unit. The archaeologist says they should probably investigate it first. One of them says, normally I'd say that's horrible advice, but in this case it's right. However, they're in for a big surprise. It was initially perceived to be a trap, famed by the infamous Manhunters. And as they say, no man escapes the Manhunters. And look at this. It's like Carol is actually cuddling with the salamander. I mean, come on. How can you not enjoy that? He is so cute. Apparently he's called an I'm sorry if I pronounce this, an Axolotl. Apparently their species resembles salamanders, amphibious, and apparently happy. It's in a normal axolotl. In fact, he's not, but it's not normal, but he is family. While under the axolotl's influence, the doctor was quoted had confessed to wanting to experiment on this creature, but after giving off some kind of weird emotional energy, he decided that he keeps it, and thus the emotional energy that emits from this axolotl, or happy as they've called him, has really improved morale over the prison. You see the emotional spectrum. So Hal decides to take the thing and go for investigation, but the doctor, unfortunately, but as a side effect, it also leads into them becoming glowing orange with avarice. An orange lantern. They're blown asunder out from the lab, and then surrounded by all the criminals that have been locked up in the prison. So now they have to fight back-to-back crane style with this. Squee. And it's like, what did you do, little one? And she's apparently Happy's energy knocked the warden and knocked some sense back into him. And using her power combined with Happy's emotional energy, she's able to snap the prisoners back out of their trance. Or it's when Happy touched me, something about his energy and mind canceled out each other. Cancel out emotions might be able to help Nathan. That's another story. But anyway. The point is, I just love seeing how Carol Ferris and Hal Jordan actually working together. Like Batman and Robin of the Green Lantern thing. And the only difference is they actually do love each other. And despite what you say, Batman and Robin's relationship is strictly professional and non-romantic. So I know what you guys are saying on the internet. So darn. And I know exactly what it sounds like. So shut up. Because I think he is pretty happy about it. Look at that, Carol actually bonding with a salamander. Come on, is there anything? If this doesn't say that Carol should definitely belong on the Justice League as a heroine, I don't know what will. Meanwhile, in deep space, Kyle Rayner, Superboy, and the rest of their friends lay siege to the Manhunters. During their conflict, one of the Manhunters accidentally breaks open this jar of containment energy. It's a blunt. Oh wait, no wait, actually it wasn't. It was just one of the things. So he's using a Philosopher's Stone as a hand grenade and then blew the whole thing up. Hurting us either. It's leaving, and guess what it's doing? It followed right back to the Interceptor. It's like without the Interceptor, it's a long range home. It says it's building something. And it says, correct, Green Lantern. My energy was lost in the universe for some time until I was able to find a suitable home in this ancient Oan, or Malthusian satellite. I did not know my presence would activate the Manhunters long dormant in this location, but when I sensed the ship that brought me to life, I had to summon it here. And Kyle is just like me when I read this comic. No way. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pride and even grander pleasure to reintroduce you to Aya. Ladies and gentlemen, our queen has returned. For those of you who are not in the know, Aya was the name of the AI from the Interceptor in Green Lantern the animated series. Hal gave her a name, and the name has stuck. She and Razor had developed a close bond throughout as the series ran, even in the tie-in books, which I recommend you go and read because those things are awesome. Anyway, their relationship pretty much carried the majority of the series. Long story short, because of Razor's near rejection caused her to turn into the Aya Monitor, which basically meant that she assumed the role of Anti-Monitor and used the Manhunters as her servants. After a whole things of trials and tribulations, she came to her senses and it is through her re-emergence that she finally became human. So if you couldn't have already tell, she has look at the details on her fingers and her feet. Which means before we had no idea that she was just but this definitely proves that Aya has become an organic life form. In other words, Aya has been reborn into human form. Now, what will she do now that she's in the Green Lantern continuity? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And that's what the title of this episode and this comic is, Because I'm Happy. And who wouldn't be? Aya is finally back in DC continuity, where she belongs. And of course, there's a preview for Superman. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Aya is finally back in Green Lantern DC continuity. A character that had more than enough potential and storytelling elements to offer this comic. What do you think, Adam? I think that despite what you have told me, I think that Aya is an interesting character that is definitely worth exploring in written continuity. She seems to have already had enough potential. She definitely was the center focus of the DC animated show, and I believe that she has a lot more to offer in written form than anything else. Couldn't have put it better myself, Adam. And there you have it. Feel free to pick up this comic book at your local comic book store, Amazon, or wherever comics are sold. And be sure to tune in. And as soon as the next issue comes out at the end of the month, we'll be out. You can bet your lucky stars that we'll be covering that immediately. And that's all the time. Oh, and one more thing before we go, I just gotta say the artwork is always on point. The coloring scheme, everything about this. I feel like I didn't cover it enough in my last video, but yes, this is definitely worth championing. The artwork here is definitely worth championing, but not as much as the writing though. Plus, I mean, the fact that you get to see the Interceptor and Aya in written DC comic continuity is clear that Jeremy Adams really loves the show and really wants to incorporate them into the main continuity. Hal and Carol, no offense, they've just kind of been done to death in the different continuities, but which is why I think the show actually did them justice. It did. I just really would love to see those versions of the characters interacting with other versions of the Justice League. In fact, I wrote about them in my version of Crisis on Infinite Earths animated version that's located on my Raise Aya Tumblr blog. It's under Raise Aya Aya blog on Tumblr, so please go give that a follow. And speaking of following, feel free to like, share, and subscribe and share this video or short on all of your favorite social media platforms. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, I'm Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme, and my name is Adam Warlock. Wow, really couldn't have put some more enthusiasm in that if you could, eh, Adam? Give me a break, I'm still new to this. Fair enough. But anyway, until next time, true believers, Excelsior!